Can't believe I'm about to do this, but yes, I'm going to defend a Chicago Bear Award winner.
You are Locked On Lions, your daily Detroit Lions podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
We welcome in, everybody, to a Friday edition of Locked On Lions right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Indeed, your team every day and the number one sports podcast network. Matt Dery with you on a Friday, February 6th into the freaking weekend, and Saturday, February 7th. Please subscribe to our Locked On Lions YouTube channel. Please join our Everydayer Club. We've been with you for 10 years doing Locked On Lions. We're with you Monday through Friday. We appreciate all of you checking us out daily here on Locked On Lions. We are brought to you today by our friends at FanDuel. Last call for football on FanDuel. If you're a new customer, you bet just $5 and get $200 in bonus bets if you win. A lot to get into on the show today, including some Super Bowl thoughts at the end of the program. Also, Aidan Hutchinson was asked a great question on a podcast at the Super Bowl. We'll tell you what the question was and what he had to say about what his answer was. Coming up momentarily on the program. Maxx Crosby speaks. Yes, everybody wants the Lions to trade for Maxx Crosby. Does he want to be traded? He was on the Herd with Colin Cowherd today. You'll hear that audio momentarily as well. But first things first, last night was the NFL awards show, and the Lions had a couple of nominees for awards. Aidan Hutchinson was up for Defensive Player of the Year. Did not win it. It went to Myles Garrett of the Browns. Hutch also was a finalist and a nominee for the Comeback Player of the Year award. That went to Christian McCaffrey. And then a new award came out. I didn't even know this thing existed until last night. It was Protector of the Year, given really to the best, like, pass blocking offensive lineman. And Penei Sewell was a finalist for it. He did not win it, despite having the second best pass blocking grade in the entire NFL, like a 98.2. Penei Sewell's a great player. But the award instead went to Bears left guard Joe Thuney. And so last night, I didn't even think I was going to talk about this on the podcast today, to be quite honest with you. And now I'm leading with it. But let me throw this out there. Everybody that a lot of people that cover the Lions and a lot of Lions fans were throwing it out on the old social medias last night that Penei Sewell got snubbed. It was the biggest snub in the history of the awards. Oh, the biggest snub. Snub. Just like snub central, like Cosmo Kramer snub, like Albert Dale snubbing Steve Yzerman. I mean, just monster snub. That's an inside bit, but regardless. Gail Cunningham is who Kramer snubbed. Remember, Gail was Jerry, this is a Seinfeld bit, was Jerry's like ex-girlfriend, and Kramer saw it, walked by her and snubbed her, even said hi to her. Penei Sewell snubbed, biggest snub of the night, as people kept saying. And I'm here. Look, you guys know how I feel about the Bears. If you watch or listen to Locked On Lions, I hate the Bears. I despise the Bears. I don't like Ben Johnson. I hated that the Lions lost the division to those punks in Chicago. Good, better, best, and all that crap. I love that the Lions swept the Bears. But what sucked was the Bears had a great year, won the division, and they have a really good team. So I can't believe I'm about to do this. It's not a snub, folks. I'm sorry. This notion that Penei Sewell is the biggest snub of the awards last night went to, how could Sewell not win the Protector of the Year? I'm here to actually tell you that Joe Thuney deserves it. And that Joe Thuney, a 3-time All-Pro and a tremendous offensive lineman who won 4 Super Bowls with the Patriots, deserved that honor. All right? I get it. It's the first-time award. There could probably make some mistakes. Protector of the Year. And if you go by PFF grades, like I said before, Penei Sewell only allowed 2 sacks, 19 pressures all year. His pass blocking efficiency, again, 98.2 grade, is absolutely insane. Penei Sewell is the best right tackle in the game. If Taylor Decker somehow retires and the Lions decide to move him to left tackle, he will become the best left tackle in the game. I truly believe that. Number 58 is a flat-out stud, and he's the best player the Lions have. The Lions' best player is Penei Sewell. It is. Grade-wise, and I know Jack Campbell had a big year. You got some really good players on the Lions, all right? Jared Goff is tremendous. Jahmyr Gibbs is awesome. Amon-Ra St. Brown is tremendous. The Lions have a ton of good players. Their best player is Penei Sewell. But Joe Thuney of the Bears helped transform that team. I know he's a left guard. Remember, what was it, the playoff game? He moved out to tackle? Like, he's really good. And I think sometimes in this town, we get so protective of our guys and we get very defensive when our guys don't win something. You know, do you remember years back, the Mike Trout, Miguel Cabrera MVP debate? And it just went on and on for weeks. I think I was working at DFN at the time. It's like, guys, yes, Miggy's great, but do you watch Mike? Yeah, but Mike Trout plays for the Angels and they don't win. And come on. All right. We do get very regionalized here. We do get very protective here. Penei Sewell deserved it. Absolutely deserved protector of the year. But Joe Thuney was an unbelievable pickup by the Bears. An incredible pickup. I don't know why the Chiefs let him go. The Bears getting him helped transform their offensive line. They won a lot of games, and a lot of these award winners were from really good teams. Now, I know Myles Garrett was on a sucky team, and so was Carson Schwarzenegger, the defensive rookie of the year. They were both on the Browns. I mean, the Browns are barely a manageable professional outfit. But with that being said, Thuney deserved that award. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that this is the biggest snub in award history and biggest snub of the night. No, Joe Thuney's really good. Maybe his PFF grade isn't as good as Sewell's. Maybe he's not as good of a pass blocker, but that guy was a stud this year and helped make the Bears formidable and more than formidable. They were a powerhouse. All right. And they went further in the playoffs than the Lions did. The Lions didn't even make the playoffs. I get it. Detroit beat Chicago twice. I know. But I'm not going to call this a snub. I'm actually going to tip my cap to somebody like Joe Thuney and say he deserved to win. And for us here in Detroit, yes, the Lions last night got shut out of the awards. Ho freaking hum. What I want next year is for the Lions to win more games and you know, maybe Jahmyr Gibbs wins MVP or something. But I did not view this as some massive snub like a lot of my brethren here. Sewell's the man. He's the man. He deserved it too. Absolutely. But Joe Thuney, damn good player. Damn good player. And when he was in New England, when he was in Kansas City, you know, watch the Kelsey brothers podcast from a couple of weeks ago. They talked about Thuney and just the way Travis Kelsey was talking about that dude. He's like a special, special player. And that Bears offensive line was leaky as hell for years. They fixed it. He came in. Drew Dahlman came in. Jonah Jackson came in. And they had a great year. And hopefully with the Lions this year, if they need a new left tackle, we know they need a new center. Another year of growing from Mahogany and Ratledge and all that. Lions will be back to where they were. But I think Thuney deserved it. And I think calling this the biggest snub of the night, I think was a little overblown. That's just my opinion. And that's why I have this podcast, why we can have these kind of discussions. It's no knock on Penei. He's amazing. Amazing. But I think we got to we got to tip our caps. I hate doing it. I hate it. All right. The Bears don't even know where they're moving yet. They're still a bit of a joke off the field. All right. But like Thuney, no, he deserved it. All right, coming up next, we're going to hear from Maxx Crosby, the former Eastern Michigan Eagle and LV Raider. Does he want to leave the Raiders? He was on with Colin Cowherd today and was asked what's going on with him. Is he coming to the Lions? We'll play that audio for you coming up next right here on a Friday edition of Locked On Lions. And hey, always great to have our friends at ZocDoc back with us. Finding a doctor you actually like and feel like discovering a diamond in the rough. Sure, you want someone who's in network, nearby, and has availability. But if you also want a doctor who listens, makes you feel more comfortable, and explains things clearly, check out what's there at ZocDoc. That kind of doctor exists, and you can find them easy on ZocDoc. ZocDoc is a free app and website that helps you find and book high-quality in-network doctors so you can find somebody you love without all the hassle. We're talking about booking in-network appointments with more than 150,000 providers across all 50 states, covering 200 specialties, from primary care to dentistry to dermatology and eye care. All right. I'll admit it. I've put off doctor's appointments, right? Longer than I should have, between work and life, everything else. It's easy to delay. ZocDoc makes the process simple. You can see real-time availability and book instantly. No phone calls, no waiting on hold. Stop putting off those doctor appointments, folks. Go to ZocDoc.com/LockedOnNFL to find and instantly book a doctor you love today. That's ZocDoc.com/LockedOnNFL. ZocDoc.com/LockedOnNFL. Thanks to ZocDoc for sponsoring this message. And hey, Locked On Lions also brought to you by our friends at Indeed, who's looking to hire somebody right now. Maybe you're looking at somebody that looks good on paper, but they're not the right fit. You know how important fit is, right? When you want candidates who truly match what you're looking for, trust Indeed sponsored jobs. Hiring is all you need at Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other sites. Indeed sponsored jobs puts your post at the top of the page and helps you reach the right candidates a lot faster. Sponsored jobs boost your post to the people who are the best match for your role, and that makes a real difference. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed are 90% more likely to report a hire than non-sponsored jobs. Spend more time interviewing candidates who check all your boxes with less stress, less time, and more results using Indeed sponsored jobs. Listeners of the show are going to get a $75 sponsored job credit to help give your job the premium placement it deserves at Indeed.com/LockedOnNFL. Just go to Indeed.com/LockedOnNFL right now and support the show by saying you heard about Indeed right here on Locked On Lions. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring, do it the right way with Indeed. I got to give a shout out to our everydayers, and you know it. We talk about it all the time. We appreciate you making Locked On Lions your first listen every day, and also making us the #1 sports podcast network. All right. If you want to join our everydayer club, please join us. Do it. Go to lockedonlions.supercast.com. Lockedonlions.supercast.com. What are you going to get? You're going to get an ad-free version of the show on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, Odyssey app. You're also going to be on our Locked On Lions Discord server. We got a chat room going. I talked to the listeners. Double J hit us up yesterday. He was our call today. He's on the Discord server. So many folks. Do it. Join our Everydayer Club. It's a lot of fun. And we'll be chatting throughout the off season right there at lockedonlions.supercast.com. All right. Earlier today, as we know, a lot of NFL players are out at the Super Bowl. They're making their way into the media center, Radio Row, whatever it is. And guys are doing interviews. Aidan Hutchinson was out there, David Montgomery, Sewell and St. Brown for the Pro Bowl and all that stuff. But today, Maxx Crosby, who's not there at the Super Bowl, but rather was on the air with the Herd, Colin Cowherd on Fox Sports and FS1. And heard Colin asked Crosby, what's going on with you and the Raiders? Let's take a listen to this audio because there's been a lot of rumblings and rumors about the Lions maybe trading for Maxx. Here's Crosby, the great edge rusher of the Raiders, with Colin Cowherd earlier today. Take a listen.
There's a bunch of stories because you're such a high-profile player. Tom Brady's part owner. Here comes Fernando Mendoza. You're in the news now all the time. So I don't know what's true, what's not. Here's what I'll ask. Where are you today with the Raiders? Where's your mind at? What are your thoughts? I don't know. What I read, true. What I read, that you're in the news all the time. So just lay it out there. Where are you with the Raiders?
Yeah, it's funny. I'm glad you brought it up because, it's like damned if you do, damned if you don't. For me, in the past, I've learned, being too vocal and too involved with trying to make, I want this coach or I want this. Like, I've learned my lessons and I've learned from that. And like, that's not my job. My job is to be the best player I can possibly be that guy in the locker room every single day, the leader. That's who I am to my core. That's all I love. That's all I care about and love is being the best version of myself in that locker room and on the field on Sundays and in practice and doing all those in the weight room, leading from the front, not talking and, not leading every day. I do it every single day. So that's what my importance is. And nowadays, especially like this past year and a half, like I'm not talking about stuff like that because that's not my job. And I've been advised, hey, Max, I think it'd be best, some of the best mentors in my life, Max, I know you care a lot. You're obsessive about it. You want to win no matter what. But you can't control everything. And I've learned that. So now that I be quiet, now that I'm quiet, now I got random people making big statements for me. And they're like, oh, Max must have told him this. And this guy, for me, I just sit back and laugh because I know my truth. And when I go to bed at night, I have a smile on my face because I don't have to explain nothing to nobody. I've said it over and over again. I'm getting healthy. I'm in the building every single day. If I'm in this building before 6 a.m. and it's dark out and I am in here until almost 2 o'clock, almost 8 hours, I'm putting in straight work, rehab and lifting, getting prepared for next season. Like, that's all that I care about. So all the noise, it's news to me sometimes. I got up yesterday, I looked at my phone, or 2 days ago, I looked at my phone, and all of a sudden now I got a bunch of PR people talking about what they, what Max is doing. And it's like, I just laugh because if I address it, then someone's going to pick apart what I say there. So it's a lose-lose. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. I'm getting healthy. I'm going to be the best version of myself upcoming this year. And I'm going to put myself in the best position to do that. And that's by taking care of myself and being the best version of myself on a daily basis. My family's good. My wife is doing incredible. My baby girl's 3. She's running the house. Life is incredible. So I just try not to, address certain things because no matter what, someone's going to, pick it apart and make it some way. So I'll let people do their talking. All I'm about is my actions. And my actions, everyone knows what my actions are. I do the same thing every single day, and I'm going to be the hardest worker on the planet every single time. So that's all I care about.
Okay, there it was. Maxx Crosby. He kind of went around the block just to get next door. Did he not? All he had to say was, I'm not leaving the Raiders. I'm happy here. I'm committed to the Raiders. He said nothing like that. Now, he did say, I'm in the building. In the interview, he was wearing a Raiders skull cap. He was wearing a Raiders shirt. So it's not like he's one of these guys that, I'm going to unfollow him on my Instagram and I'm not going to wear my gear. So there was support for the organization by what he looked like. And again, we played you the audio. But that was a long-winded answer for somebody that never said, I'm a Raider. I can't wait to go. Excited about Mendoza, excited about Clint Kubiak. He said none of that. It was a lot of, I'm not going to talk about it. So I think the door is still open for a Maxx Crosby exit from the Raiders. We talked about it on yesterday's show here on Locked On Lions. I don't believe Brad Holmes is going to trade for a player that is making between $30 and $35 million a year at the edge spot when you're going to be paying Hutchinson $45 million per year coming up after next season. I don't know if the Lions are going to do that. And I'm not sure from a cap perspective that they want to do that. Do I want Maxx Crosby in Detroit? Yes. If you ask Brad Holmes if he would take Maxx Crosby, of course he would. So would Dan Campbell. So would Kelvin Shepard. So would Dan Miller. So would the janitor at Ford Field. All right. But it was an interesting answer from Crosby. A lot of generalities, not I'm a Raider. I can't wait. There wasn't any of that. Speaking of answers to questions, on the Omaha Productions, the Mannings do they have 17 different podcasts and stuff. And I want to make sure I get the name right. On the This Is Football podcast on Omaha and ESPN with Kevin Clark. He was at Super Bowl today or yesterday with Aidan Hutchinson in the media center. And he asked Aidan Hutchinson, Kevin Clark did, who's the most badass football player you've ever played with? Badass player, badass person you've ever played with. And Hutchinson paused for a second. Aidan, the Lions all-pro edge rusher, needed a minute to kind of think about it. You know what he said? Brian Branch. Brian Branch. He's like, when I got BB behind me and I can hear him behind me, I know if I can't make the tackle, he will. I loved that answer. I waited for it because it was some pausing that went into it, but he mentioned Brian Branch as being the biggest badass he's ever played with. We don't talk maybe enough. I mentioned earlier about all the great Lions that are out there. I said Sewell's the best player on the team. Brian Branch, you can make an argument, best defensive player on the team. But Aidan Hutchinson played on some great Michigan teams. Aidan Hutchinson has been with the Lions now a few years. He's got good teammates, a lot of good ones, but said the biggest badass he's played with, Brian Branch. Getting him healthy. We've talked a lot about Kirby Joseph, but getting Brian Branch healthy is going to be massive for this team next year. They got to get him back and get him healthy and going to where he is making the kind of difference in that secondary and by the line of scrimmage. Brian Branch is all over the field. That's going to be so key for next year. All right, coming up next, some thoughts on the Super Bowl and how they connect with what the Lions are doing. We will do that coming up right here on a Friday edition of Locked On Lions. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Locked On Lions for today are brought to you by our friends at Robinhood. Yes, what if sports were traded like markets? Now you can put your sports IQ to work in real time with Robinhood prediction markets. It's not you against the house, it's you participating in a live market. You can buy or sell your positions live all game long. Use your sports knowledge in the moments that matter. Robinhood prediction markets changes the game. It's people moving the action, so when momentum shifts, you can move with it. I always knew the game, but never had a dynamic way to apply that knowledge. Now I can actually take part live in a market powered by people. You're no longer just a spectator. Play by play, you decide. Trade every play with Robinhood, now available across the U.S. Download the Robinhood app now to begin. Futures and cleared swaps trading involves significant risk and is not appropriate for everyone. Event contracts are offered by Robinhood Derivatives, LLC, a registered futures commissions merchant and swap firm. And Locked On Lions also brought to you by Home Chef. Oh my God, my wife and I love Home Chef. All right, New Year is here. A lot of people trying to simplify their routines. Dinner is a big one. Between busy work days, cold winter nights, we know about that, and packed schedules, having an easy, reliable dinner plan makes a huge difference. That is where our friends at Home Chef come in. Home Chef takes the stress out of cooking with delivering fresh, pre-portioned ingredients right to your door with easy-to-follow recipes that actually taste great. They're rated #1 by users of other meal kits for quality, convenience, value, taste, and recipe ease. And it's easy to see why, all right? Everything arrives pre-portioned, so there's less prep, less mess, and no wasted food. Saves time and money. Home Chef customers save an average of $86 per month on groceries. For limited time, Home Chef is offering our listeners 50% off your first box, free shipping, and free dessert for life by going to homechef.com/lockedon. That's homechef.com/lockedon. Homechef.com/lockedon for 50% off your first box, free shipping, and free dessert for life. Must be an active subscriber to receive free dessert. All right, Matt Dery with you, a Locked On Lions Super Bowl coming up on Sunday. I like Seattle in this game. I think the Seahawks are the better team. I truly do. I think the Seahawks have a better defense. I think they're on a mission. New England, I think, has played so many games on the East Coast, as Andrew Siciliano pointed out the other day. They've had a very favorable schedule. I'm not going to sit here and tell you the Patriots aren't a good team. They're a very good team. They're well-coached, well-drilled. They run the ball. That second-year quarterback in Drake May is coming to his own. He hasn't had great passing days in the postseason, but he just makes winning plays. And nearly won the MVP last night, was edged out by one vote by Matthew Stafford. Congratulations, by the way, to the former Lions quarterback, Matthew Stafford. I can't believe we're 25 minutes into the show and I didn't mention that Stafford won his first MVP last night. And yes, some of the big mouths on television today are going, oh, first ballot. No, stop. Matthew Stafford is now that he's won an MVP in year 17, absolutely a Hall of Fame player. Stop with first ballot. I don't want to hear about first ballot. No. I'm giving Stafford some love. I think it's great he won MVP. I think he deserves it. He won by 1 vote over Drake May. He absolutely should be in the Hall of Fame for what he's done with the Rams and, of course, the Lions. Hey, I haven't seen Stafford's daughters on TV. Why don't they ever? Never mind. Anyway, Drake May nearly won the MVP last night. My point is I like the Patriots. I think they're good. But I think Seattle's better. And I think if the Seahawks can protect Sam Darnold in this game, I think they win. And Kenneth Walker, I think, is awesome. My God. You think JSN is good, the receiver of the year last night on the award show. Kenneth Walker's special. And I think that the Seahawks will win that game. The one thing I want to say about the game as it pertains to the Lions is the following. We have talked a lot on this show, and we'll continue to talk about it as we get up towards the draft and free agency. Free agency comes first, is that the Lions have to be better defensively. They got to be better up front. They got to be better in the secondary, all of it. Linebackers are pretty darn good, but guys have to improve. We need to see better performances from certain individuals next year. Pass rush has to be better. Run defense has to be better. Secondary has to get healthy. These are 2 of the top 8 defenses in terms of yards allowed in the league. Seattle is 6th. New England is 8th. I believe the Lions were like 17th or 18th. All right. So while we talk a lot about offense in this league, we talk about quarterbacks and how good of a year Darnold had. And man, Drake May is so much better than his predecessor, Mac Jones, and all these things. You got to play defense. You watch how the Seahawks wrap people up and tackle. You watch how they attack a quarterback. You see what the Patriots did this offseason in getting Milton Williams, building up that defensive line so there's depth there. Seahawks went out and got DeMarcus Lawrence. Same thing. All right? Got to play defense. 2 of the top 8 defenses in the league are playing in this game tomorrow or Sunday. So, all right. Enjoy the Super Bowl, everybody. No, I'm not going to make a comment about the halftime. I thought about it. I'm not doing it. Let's just stay positive. Let's have fun. Let's watch the game and enjoy the evening of Super Bowl 60. It's going to be awesome. My buddy Mike Tirico is calling it for NBC. My boy Ian Eagle is calling it for the World Feed. Our man Ross Tucker is calling it for the World Feed Radio. So it should be a lot of fun on Sunday. Enjoy the Super Bowl, everybody. We will recap it all on Monday.